Why the US could lose the war with Iran. On paper, that sounds almost impossible. The United States has the most powerful military on Earth. It spends more on defense than China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, and the United Kingdom combined. It operates 11 aircraft carriers, deployed across the world 24/7. It flies stealth bombers that can strike targets from the other side of the planet. And now all of this power is being tested in a war with Iran. So this should be easy, right? But here's the problem. Modern wars aren't just about who's stronger. They're about who can afford to keep fighting. Because every time the United States fires a missile, it might be spending $3 to $4 million on a Patriot interceptor, or over $10 million on a THAAD system, just to stop something Iran builds for a few $1,000s. And that changes everything. Because Iran isn't trying to defeat the United States. It's trying to prolong the war and force America into a kind of conflict it was never designed to fight. And we're already seeing the early signs. Oil infrastructure has been targeted. US bases across the Middle East are under pressure. And the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important choke points on Earth, is now under threat. This war isn't staying contained. It's spreading. And if it continues, the biggest question won't be who's stronger. It'll be who can last longer. And to understand that, you need to understand how wars are actually fought. Because modern warfare isn't just about power. It's about cost. Every military in the world follows a basic structure, a cost pyramid. At the bottom are soldiers, the cheapest and most scalable part of any army. Above them are tanks and artillery, more expensive but harder to replace. Above that are naval forces, ships that take years and billions to build. And at the very top, air power, fighter jets, stealth bombers, precision missiles, and advanced radar systems. This is where warfare becomes extremely expensive. An F-35 fighter jet costs around $80 million. A Patriot missile interceptor costs roughly $3 to $4 million per shot. A THAAD interceptor can cost over $10 million for a single launch. Now compare that to Iran's strategy. A drone costs maybe $20,000 to $50,000. A short-range missile costing a fraction of Western systems. And here's where the problem begins. Because most wars aren't decided in a few days. They become wars of attrition. Wars where both sides slowly lose resources and have to replace them. And in those wars, the side that can sustain costs the longest usually wins. But here's the issue. The United States is strongest at the top of the pyramid, while Iran is built to fight from the bottom. And that mismatch changes everything. This strategy worked in the past. In 1991, the US destroyed Iraq's military from the air before ground forces even moved in. Even in 2003, the invasion of Iraq was fast, overwhelming, and decisive. But those wars were short. They were fought against weaker opponents. Deserts in the center slow movement. And the country itself is nearly 4 times larger than Iraq, with a population of over 90 million people. Invading Iran is not just difficult, it's one of the hardest military operations possible. But Iran's biggest advantage isn't just land, it's location. Because sitting right next to it is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water through which nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes every day. And we're already seeing signs of how dangerous that is. As the war escalates, energy markets react. Prices rise. Shipping routes become uncertain. And if this choke point is disrupted, the battlefield doesn't stay in Iran. It spreads to the entire global economy.